I'm gonna tear it up tonight, yeah, I'm round a little tired for sure. It's not enough. If 9 will kill you, give me 10, and I'll still come back again for more. It's not enough. A demolition boomerang with a pocket full of change, such a whore. It's not enough. If all she do is bang, then I just ain't gonna hang, such a bore. It's not enough.
Friends, I'm Brett with In the Now magazine, sitting with...
I'm Tom Keifer, and if you're not in the now, you're in the nothing.
Excellent. Appreciate you taking the time today, Tom. Thanks for talking to us.
Good to talk to you.
So, you guys just got off the Monsters of Rock cruise. How'd that go?
That was a blast. That's always a lot of fun. I've done it a few times in the past with Cinderella, and this is the first year I've done it with my solo band, and we just had a great time.
Awesome.
Just big rock and roll floating show out there on the water. So
excellent. So you recommend it?
Yeah, I recommend it. Yeah. We're actually getting ready to. We just accepted the solo band. We're going to be going on the Def Leppard cruise.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So those cruises are a good place to get on, get intimate with the band, and
yeah, and there's lots of shows going on around on the boat all the time, and it's just it's a great place to see a lot of stuff. So.
Awesome. So now, currently, you guys are scheduled to tour until September, October time frame. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, I mean, we have dates into the fall. They're kind of dropping every week, a few more here and there. We're still filling in the calendar. So yeah, we're gonna tour till we drop.
All right, excellent. So speaking of touring on this, The Way Life Goes. Why don't you tell us about that? It seems like it was kind of a long time coming, a bit of a process. So you want to take us through that?
Yeah, it didn't even start off as a record. It started off as I was on the heels of a lawsuit that Cinderella was in with a record company who didn't make good on a contract to produce a record with us. And we got restricted from recording with each other for a number of years. And this record started off as more of like a healing process because it was produced without a label involved. I wrote a lot of it with my wife and a lot of my friends in Nashville, and co-produced it with Savannah and my friend Chuck Turner. But it wasn't a record when we started. It was just like, let's go out in the studio and just make some music. No lawyers, no record companies, no nothing. And over the period of like 9 years, we'd record a few songs, and then I'd go back on the road with Cinderella because we could still tour, but we couldn't record. And it was like back and forth, work a little bit on it, get away from it, work on it, get away from it, re-record, rewrite, this, that, and the other thing. And I woke up one day, I was like, wow, there's a record here. So then we picked 14 of the tracks that we liked the best and sequenced them and mastered them and started shopping them to record companies, and we found a great label with Maravi Records, and they've been very supportive. And when the record was released, I had no idea we'd still be out touring as long as we have been with this, but the band that we put together for live is just amazing. Amazing musicians and people, and we're like a big family, and we're just having such a blast on the road that figure the record took forever to make. Why not tour forever behind it? Right?
Sounds good, absolutely. So speaking of the band too, can you tell us about the band, how you guys kind of got together and how you...
Well, Tony Higbee, the guitar player, I was friends with in Nashville, and when the whole time that I was making the record, I was thinking, as it started to feel like it was a record, I was like, oh no, if this is a record, I'm going to have to tour and I'm going to have to put the band together.
Right.
And I had traveled in the bubble of Cinderella, and it was just, we were a unit and everything. And it was kind of stressing me out to think about having to find musicians that could not only cover all the Cinderella material, but this new material as well, and also be the kind of people that you want to be around too, because it's all like, and so I was stressing out about it, and Tony said to me one day, he said, I can help you with that. I know a lot of people here in Nashville, some great players, and I can help you put together a band. So he did, and he picked out some people, and he said, give us some songs to learn. So I gave him 3 or 4 songs, and we went over to his rehearsal place. And the first night, it was just like magic. It was the first people that came into the room, and here I thought I was going to have to audition for months and months and months. And at that point, I just looked at Tony. I said, it was Paulie, our drummer, Simmons, and Billy Mercer, the bass player, and Tony and me that first night. And it just felt like magic. And I said, Tony, I know the perfect keyboard player because I've known Paul Taylor for years.
Okay.
We brought him in, and then Savannah started touring with us in the first year because she sings some acoustic stuff with me. But then we added Kendra Chantel, and after Savannah does the acoustic stuff with me, about halfway through the set, they step up to the mics in the background and they do all the, that part of the set. We start having all the big gospel vocals, and so we've got like 8 people on stage singing.
Wow, that's awesome.
So the vocals and the musicianship is just a really a magic group of people, and I'm really happy.
It seemed like a pretty easy process too, huh?
It was.
That's awesome.
We all really love hanging out together. Even when we're off the road, we're all from Nashville. We're always like, hey, let's go to dinner and hang out. That's
awesome.
kind of rare with a band.
I was going to say, typically you usually go your separate ways after a tour, right?
We don't with this band.
That's great.
It's kind of weird.
It's a family.
We all kind of feel like we were meant to be together or something. So, and you'll feel that when you see the show.
Awesome. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. So that
we like to drink on video.
You certainly can. You can do whatever you want. So tell me, what's next? I mean, are you going to write some more solo stuff? I mean, of course, is there anything going on with Cinderella as far as writing, or is that kind of on the shelf?
Cinderella's just on permanent hiatus right now. We had toured like 3 years in a row just before I started this, and everyone from the agent to the managers of the band, we all thought, we need to take at least a year off.
Okay.
And that was the year that I started this because I had just signed the deal. And then we just kept going with this. So we're heading into another year now. We're going to tour all year behind this. And for right now, there's no plans for Cinderella. I don't know what the future is there. We'll see. I take things one day at a time.
Sure, absolutely.
But I have been starting to write some more, and people are starting to ask about another solo record.
Right.
And so we'll see. Right now, we're on the road in a bus and playing some rock shows. So
that's great.
We'll see what happens at the end of this.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I was watching an interview with you back in 1986, and you were saying this lifestyle is not all it's cracked up to be. Basically, the rock star thing and all that. About the time you were breaking, I mean, do you still kind of hold by that, or?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the context of what I said that, but I try to go back in time and imagine what I meant by that. Don't take that wrong. I love what I do.
Sure.
And I just live to play music and to play it live in particular. I mean, I love creating it in the studio, and that's kind of a love-hate situation because you're trying to pull out of thin air this thing you hear in your head, and sometimes it happens very easily, and you just press play and you go, there it is, and other times you're like, oh, that's not it. What are we doing wrong here? Yeah. So but my favorite part is playing live. Probably what I meant by that, I would imagine, and I still feel this way, is it's hectic. I mean, it wears you out. I mean, we just rode 22 hours on a bus to get up here to do this show from Nashville.
Jeez.
And but at the end of the day, all the work that goes into it, the traveling and all that, or maybe some of the things maybe not quite as glamorous as maybe people would imagine.
Right.
At the end of the day, is the second you step foot on that stage and you're with the people and you're sharing that moment in the songs, it just makes anything negative and it just go away, so that so there's no it's not like I hope no one ever took that as that I don't like
I'm sure
I actually love the tour. I love it, but it does wear you out.
I'm sure it does.
That's probably what I meant.
Sure, absolutely, that makes sense. So 1989 you guys play the Moscow Music Peace Festival.
Yes.
What's the feeling like? I mean, I saw a video of you kind of peeking from behind the curtain, looking at the crowd, and it looked amazing. So, do you remember what that feeling was like in playing there? I mean, you guys were like one of the first rock bands to actually play in Russia, right?
Yeah, that whole. I think the Scorpions who were on that bill, they had played Russia before, and I think maybe Ozzy had. I don't remember who. There was one or two that had done it before, but it's rare. And it was just, that looking back throughout of all, everyone always says, well, what's your favorite thing over all the years and years? And it's hard to pick one because it's been an amazing ride, and I feel very fortunate for the success with Cinderella. And now that it's, I can't believe I wake up every day and I still get to do this.
That's great.
But as time's gone by, the Moscow Music Peace Festival is one that I look back as a pretty special event that we were able to be a part of. So. And it was pretty crazy peeking out. I remember that moment. It's like 100,000 people, and we're in Moscow. And the the coolest thing about that trip was going in. We were told, the government controls everything. They're not allowed to have rock records. I think the only approved government rock music was the Beatles. Right?
Okay.
And we were told they're not allowed to have jeans. They're not allowed to wear jeans. All the like kind of Western culture and stuff. They said the government keeps this. They keep it out. It's not part of their culture. And the most amazing thing was to see the power of music and pop culture, how it still seeped through the border, because they got it all on the black market. So when I was speaking out, at that crowd, what I was seeing was 100,000 people wearing jeans holding up all of our record covers.
Everything they told you that they weren't
and it was
gonna
like,
do.
okay, well there you go, right there. It's like music has no borders or boundaries.
Right.
Which was that to me is what I took away from it is a very positive thing.
Well, watching that looked amazing, so I can just imagine standing behind that curtain and actually
they were
being
literally
on.
holding, because the vinyl was big then. They were literally holding up, Motley Crue records and Cinderella records, and it was a very cool.
Yeah, it looks like a great experience. That's great. So, any plans to head overseas with the solo band, or?
We're looking at. We have a couple offers for some things. We're looking into them. Probably in the fall.
Great. So if I had to ask you the best band to tour with, could you answer that? You think, was there a memory of a band that you toured with that you were just like, wow, this was just fantastic?
Well, when we did the Slippery When Wet tour with Bon Jovi, which was one of our first big tours, they were amazing to us.
Yeah.
We've been really, really fortunate to, really every band we've toured with has been just really pro and great bands and people that I looked up to, and everyone's always really treated us really well. So we've been lucky in that sense.
So if I had to ask you worst band, there isn't a worst band? Or you don't want to say it. You don't have.
I wouldn't.
That's fine. That's fine.
There have been a couple bad experiences, but I won't go there.
No, that's fine. Understood. So.
There's no point.
Is there a most gratifying moment in your career?
Like I said, it's hard to pick.
It's
hard to pick one. I feel, as time goes on, I feel more and more fortunate and grateful as I look back over the years of how, I just feel like lucky to still be doing this. I've been through all this stuff with my voice and the ups and downs of the business and the career, and the one thing that keeps it going and fuels it constantly are the fans and the people that come out. And Cinderella has had an amazing group of people out there, fans supportive of us. They have been over the years, and through the ups and downs, and now with this solo thing, they're the same thing. So I feel very fortunate, really, honestly, for all of it.
So the moment you quote unquote made it, did you feel like there were friends coming out of the woodwork, like, hey Tom, remember me from high school? And what was that like?
A little bit. I mean, most people, when they say, hey, remember me, you did know them, and but yeah, a lot of people do come out, and they're just excited for you. It's hard to keep up with it all,
I'm sure.
So sometimes maybe maybe some people might feel slighted, but you try to still stay in touch and communicate with everybody, but you got, like, once that roller coaster took off, I describe it as a tornado coming down and picking us up. It's like everything's coming at you, like from 80 million different directions, and it's a great feeling, but it's overwhelming, and it's, like I said earlier, can be exhausting. So we always try to keep up with everybody.
You still have that guitar from graduation?
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You want to tell us quickly about that story there?
Yeah, I had I was not the most academic young man in school, and my mom, being very wise, she was a school teacher, she bribed me to finish high school to get my diploma with a 1978 Gibson Custom Tobacco Sunburst that was hanging on the wall at the local music store, and I wanted it. I mean, it was like in the Wayne's World movie, one day that will be mine, right? So, so being the wise woman that she was, she said, if you graduate high school, that guitar is yours. And she kept her word, and I graduated high school, because I had offers from bands to go on the road, and I thought I knew it all, and I was like, Mom, I'm taking off on the road, and she's like, you need your high school diploma. So thank you, Mom. God rest her soul. She's passed on many years ago. But I still have the guitar. It's been refinished black. I refinished it black actually when I was still pretty young, like right out of high school. I had it refinished
great. I'm sure it means a lot to you. So, when you're off tour, what are you doing? What do you have for hobbies, things like that?
Well, in the last 10 years or so, my wife and I, we had our son, Jaden, and he's our whole world.
Nice.
So, obviously, touring and keeping up with all of this takes up a lot of our time, and now Savannah's a part of this too. Different from with Cinderella, because she's on the road now with us, and we're both heavily involved in all the business end and everything for this project. So between that and then keeping up with our 11-year-old's sports schedule and school schedule, it's like when we're not doing this, it's just all about family.
That's great.
We're just there for him, and we're following him around to his games. And
Are you guys sports fans?
yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's what it's been about.
Right.
I mean, I'm over all the going out to bars and that kind of thing.
Sure.
We like a nice meal and maybe a movie, and then hang with our son and watch him with his accomplishments. He's quite an athlete, and it's just it's cool. That brings a whole other dimension into your life.
Absolutely.
And now everything becomes
about the kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
So-
thank God, because it's like you get to see life through their eyes. It gives you such a renewed, it's renewing.
It certainly is. I agree. So, any final words for the fans out there?
Thank you for all the years of just encouragement and having my back through vocal problems and the ups and downs of the industry, and it's just amazing. Thank you.
Well, we're glad you're still around, so appreciate it. The Way Life Goes out right now. Be sure to pick it up. And Tom Keifer on tour right now with a solo band. Tom, appreciate you taking the time. Thanks a lot.